So, welcome everybody back at Veil of Sound. Back not with our normal Sunday interviews, but with our special Roadburn 2025 series interviews. And we have somebody with us today who has an exceptional position at Roadburn because she is the first triennial artist in residence. I am very happy to have Lane Shi Otay Onii here with us. So, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Thurston.
So, first thing that I always ask, is there any kind of band, merch, shirt, vinyl, whatever, from your own projects or from some other project that you want to pluck right now? I'll give you a moment to think while I plotch the almighty botch.
Amazing.
Tahoma's best. Tacoma's best.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it live.
I did. I've seen him live twice. Once back in the day, and then on their farewell tour a few years ago, and it was amazing. It was really amazing. Yeah. So, do you have anything for us from your own projects or from a friend's project?
Yes. Actually, I was just packing. I thought I should present my merch. Just hold on a second. And yep. I'm back.
Cool.
So, allow me to present the things I'll be bringing all the way from Berlin to the festival, actually. So the first one is, of course, the new album, which is really, really special.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is that there's a very special gift inside. And
7-inch. Oh no, a print. Cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And it's a lenticular card.
Oh yeah.
That captured the motion.
I like that.
And then on the back there's lyrics.
Oh. That's a nice way to pack your lyrics.
Yeah, for sure. I love this thing. And then Ming Ming reissue. There's a bonus track of this album on this vinyl, so not to miss it. It's a really track.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, during the residency in Shanghai, in 2020 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then good old Nag. Bring the remainder copies of Nag to the festival. And there's only a few left, so why not? And I have another CD of Ming Ming, but everybody knows, well, not everybody, but people know what it looks like, so you will see. But this is a t-shirt I designed.
Very nice.
And there's a dagger on one of it. And I can tell you, this shirt is sick on people. It looks really sick. And I put a lot of heart into designing my own shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, all of this album cover, it's all of my ideas, and it's redesigned by my own paintings and such. Mm-hmm. Of course, hence the music, first of all, most importantly. Mm-hmm. So there goes my gifts to all, and I hope everybody enjoy it.
I'm very sure we will. It also shows something. It shows that I'm very sure you would probably think about yourself as a musician, but I would go as far and say, like, it's not the musician only that is so interesting about you, but also the artist as the whole package. You've been speaking, or you have been hinting at your own paintings, designing your own stuff. So it seems like the all-around package. Is that also something that is important for you to have, like, creative control of all things connected to Otay Onii?
Absolutely. Why is that I was just saying in another interview, but then I think people will categorize me as musicians and then an artist, but I would say I'm a life lover.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm struggling to have lost the love in life and slowly regain it through the medium of music. So it's all a loop. And because I have a lot of love for films, so naturally the visual side of life and aspect it's brought to my music quite much. And I would say that most of my music are inspired by stories, folklores, and which is also a reflection of those things. And for the triennial program, I'm very, very excited because I think I have never ever done a performance piece outside of China. So next year in 2026, I will be performing my first ever performance piece. And it will be a lot of wonders, I think. And I hope people are ready for it because it's going to be very different.
So let's step back that one little moment, and you say that you are a life lover. Are you already, or are you learning to be more and more a life lover?
Learning every day. Yeah. And I guess I'm more of a participant and alchemist to figure out how to turn this learned love during the way to create a good ripple around me and impact people around me. And that's what I'm figuring out. And music, films, all these other mediums, they're a vessel, portal for me to have a body to present this, I guess.
You've spoken about your love for film. Would you agree that a lot of the music you are making has a very visual character?
Absolutely. Because I also work in films. I do a lot of movies and sound design. I collect car engine sound, door closing, opening sounds, such as this. And I just recently recorded chainsaw sound, which I love. I love. So yes, I see it as capturing a moment in film, but through music. So it actually gives the empty space for people to imagine. And I guess imaginality, or how to say, imagination is really, really important.
Would you describe yourself as a synesthete, that you, for example, see music and hear pictures where, like senses are combined?
I definitely have that. And sometimes I hear sound as well in my sleep, but not synesthesia. Well, yes, but maybe something else comes along with it as well. I see color. I can hear things that's related to the color. And if I hear music once, a song from front to end, in my head, I already have a picture. It's like I don't know, it could be something as simple as like a sketch of a hill. And so and I feel quite lucky because it makes my life really vivid and not as boring.
I can imagine.
No offense.
No. I can imagine, but also it's very vivid. But I guess there are also moments where you say, like, okay, I would just like to enjoy one thing and not have the other, right?
It mostly annoy others because when I have these kind of things, I start to talk and I will not stop it. And people that cannot relate to me, of course, it's annoying.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just imagining sitting next on the subway next to you, and you're starting to. Yeah, I can imagine. Um, so, triennial artist. First of all, how did it come about that you became the first triennial artist? Who came up with the idea?
I do think it happened one time when I had a conversation uh, about my performance in 2025, which is this year, for True Faith and Blind.
Mhm.
And then Walter and Becky were talking to me about my other ideas, performance ideas. And I had this long drained performance piece called Moonstruck Hotels
Mhm.
that I want to combine the knowledge of Chinese constellation and folklores and four symbols, four beasts into the aspect of performance.
Mhm.
And I told them that, hey, how wonderful if I can turn 7 Chinese lullabies into metal songs. Um, and it means a lot to me because, to be very honest, people hear my music and they often compares me to the medium that they're familiar with, which is, recently, for example, I heard people say, compared to me to Gala's Demand
Diamanda Galles, yeah.
New York, very often common compare. Um, and I do think that if anything, it would be Chinese folklores and all the lullabies that I have
Mhm.
heard since I was young. And some are, they all carry the sign of an era, which is children born on the 1990s, under one-child policy.
Mhm.
How lonely actually one child is growing up in such environment, and even though it's a policy being constructed to ensure more food and resources for one child in the family, the
Mhm.
reality is many family they're still very poor. And
Yeah.
for example, my dad went to another city just to work
Mhm.
because the other city has more opportunity. And me and my mom waited in our hometown, and then my mom followed him, and I have to stay in my hometown for 2 years just by myself. And
Okay.
I was only first grade to second grade, and it was a very very special time of mine. Like I truly, honestly, felt the first note of loneliness as a child, and it influenced me a lot. So I want to bring those songs that accompany me to to the children nowadays. And if we want to talk about nowadays, the condition of children are not much better, and many had lost their families. So it's a really uh, heartfelt project of mine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you connect this with, I don't want to say Chinese folklore, but Chinese history in a way. Um, I mean, like, of course, there is this folklore side, but do you also want to educate people a little bit more on the Chinese history that a lot of us don't know from the, let's say, second half of the 20th century?
Yes, it's really interesting because I really love and enjoy talking with people
Mhm.
um, with history, because I think that's a knowledge that most of us didn't get a chance to experience or live in. And if somebody is living in the history, whether that's something happened in the past or the very symbolic era that they've been through, I think it deserves to be heard through another perspective.
Mhm.
and not through the media of most big outlet on the
Mhm.
newspaper. Um, um, and that connection is precious. So yes, for me, there's a eager in sharing such history, and
Mhm.
I'm also very eager to learn. Whenever I move here in the Europe, whenever there's somebody who's telling me a really interesting story that happened during their childhood, and they're maybe from Poland, not
Mhm.
even Germany, I'm always very eager to hear because I always find similarities.
Mhm.
Um, in our experiences, and it's an interesting note, like every notion of this inspire me.
Mhm. It's interesting that you also already made clear. I mean, like at the moment you're living in Europe, you have lived in China for several years. You moved to the USA. You also moved back to China for some time.
Mm.
Um, would you describe yourself as, how should I say, a person in between?
Yeah, I love gaps.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely, person in between. Yeah, I lived in China for 16 years,
Mhm.
and and then US for 14, 15.
Mhm.
um, and during those 14, 15 years, there goes a pandemic.
Yeah.
And during that time, I moved back to China,
Mhm.
circa 2020 to 2021, 2022.
Mhm.
Yeah. And now here, my first year had gone by, and I do not think that I can, how to say, I'm a very honest person, and I don't like the idea of settle down.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm always craving for the ideology of home.
Mhm.
However, how that might be very painful and excruciating to experience the truth behind it. But I do think that it's worth to search for and to look for, to explore
Mhm.
about. Yeah.
When you're talking about you like gaps, do you like gaps because it gives you space to fill, or do you like the unknown?
I like the distance
Mhm.
of a absolute uh, confinement or settlement.
Mhm.
I like the distance of living in the US and be
Mhm.
able to observe
Mhm.
China
Mhm.
from distance. And likewise, when I go back to China, I like to observe the US from distance. And I do think that this kind of distance offer you another perspective to
Mhm.
truly step out uh, of confinement,
Mhm.
and to actually allow you to deal with this kind of constant treatment a bit
Mhm.
better. However, that comes with consequences. I don't think anybody had realized how hard it is
Mhm.
to move around. Um, but at times it's necessary.
Because it also opens new possibilities.
Uh, Possibilities, but also ease of mind, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely
Mhm.
possibility. And serendipity too. Sometimes you never know. Sometimes if it all felt like, for example, this past move from the US to you.
Mhm.
Yes, I always really like um the Europe landscapes
Mhm.
and the culture as well. And I think it's wonderful that different countries has different cultures and still, because if I see America, it feels like Europe has different state, but they become a different country.
Mm-hmm.
And but then it is very painful at times because it's isolation, and I have seemingly, left a very comfortable circle to a very strange land. However, doors and serendipity drags you to experience new things. And for example, this shirt, I'm involved in a opera and soon a musical of this artist, Florentina Holzinger. And she had invited me several times to her production, but I couldn't because of tour responsibilities, all that. But then when I moved here, she asked for my participation again, and I said yes. And it had been one of the most liberating experience, I have to say. Really, I get to perform naked, and I mean, I have done, but not to a whole house of all kinds of audiences. And it's a full circle too, because I used to study opera when I was young, but then I never want to sing opera because I don't enjoy the community. But then be able to do opera, but my role is actually to scream and kick out the bricks of a wall. Perfect. I love it. Yeah.
It's also very interesting that you are mentioning so many different projects. We, before we arranged this, we have been talking about other music that you have already done. First of all, it seems as if you're a workaholic. Is there something workaholic in Lane Shi?
Too much workaholic tendency and execution. But I do think that if I have to do the psychosis, I do think that it's a portal for me to escape feelings that are too much intense in real life. And I do enjoy being in music and express whatever that I had in mind through the portal music, and be able to listen back to the music and have it impact me in a good circle, not in the bad one, in the good circle. I think it's a powerful thing. So I work, and I work a lot because I want to maybe escape a lot of realities. And maybe it's not a bad thing. Yeah. Maybe I should just say, fuck it, I accept.
Yeah, but maybe, I mean, like you are talking about escaping. Maybe there is also a bit of coping in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Now let's have a look at your performance this year at Roadburn. You're gonna perform the piano piece. You're gonna perform True Love Ain't Blind, True Faith Ain't Blind. Sorry. Will
Also,
it? Sorry.
also very true. True love and blind. Yeah.
So True Faith Ain't Blind. Are you gonna perform alone? Will anybody join you, or is it just like the album, more or less, only yourself and the voice?
Yes. Just like the album, only me and my good old friend piano. Yeah, it will just be me as well, and it's quite exciting. And I have a few tales to tell.
I'm very sure you have. Very sure you have.
Yeah.
Let me ask it this way. I expect you not to play the record 100% as it is on vinyl, right? There will probably be changes. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Because believe or not, the vinyls is also a iteration of those songs. So what I
Mm-hmm.
perform will also be another iteration, and I look forward to experience the synergy of the audience as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since yesterday, I have to look it up to make it clear that I got it right in my head. Since yesterday, when the timetables arrived, um, we also know that you, wait a second, I just have to look it up because I forgot, that you will be performing. Where is it? Goodness.
Yeah.
You're performing on Friday, aren't you?
Thursday.
Thursday. So you're performing next stage, which is the little stage NBO 13. Um, is that something that you are happy with? Because I myself think it's a perfect spot for you, location wise.
Yes, I absolutely think it is. Yeah, and I give fully trust and confidence to the curation team of
Mhm.
Roadburn. Absolutely. And also, please send my best regard and credit to Becky,
Mhm.
because my triennial program, she absolutely was the soul and mind behind it. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I want to give her the credit for
Mhm.
sure.
It will be very interesting to see you shaping into new mirrors every year. And I also know that there are not exact plans for 2027 yet. Um, it's probably also a kind of a challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely. The challenge is always uh, to put together a group of people, and to not only experience and maintain friendship, but also do great work.
Mhm.
And I have the luck, absolutely, in my life that had encounter and perhaps continuing working with such group of people,
Mhm.
um, and with new group people as well. But yeah, it is challenging. But um, the development of work, um, I guess it's living philosophy, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because for me, I don't like to beat the same body multiple times.
Mhm.
Um, it you have to bring the new, a new aspect of the prison
Mhm.
that reflect the light, the same sun, which I would think is our soul, if we
Mhm.
have to so metaphorically,
Mhm.
and through different prisons and the perspective and the fracture of the light, you see different things of this
Mhm.
sun. You see different aspects that you never had seen before, and that's perhaps really liberating. And I think I will definitely do that. And I also want to create films in the future, because I'm so in love with it.
Mhm.
Um, and this time maybe score for my own film.
Mhm.
Why not? So it's all great tests that will unfold itself, and it does not just stop with Roadburn. The
Mhm.
Triennium program, yeah, it's 3 years. It has a deadline. It has from to end, but life is long. If
Mhm.
I shall be lucky and breathe till tomorrow, there's a new day for me to create new things.
Mhm. And also a new version of you to analyze and to display.
Yes, to repair and prepare new challenges or
Mhm.
new difficulties in life, and maybe do better this time. You always do better this time,
Mhm.
and maybe I have another day now to breathe. Maybe 10 years down the road, I'm not a workaholic anymore.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Although for the music scene, that would be a bad thing. Um, You have been talking about serendipity, lucky coincidences and changes. Um, I mean, like you left China when you were 16. You went to Berkeley School of Music. Um, you, if I remember correctly, reading up on your oeuvre, you very soon noticed you didn't like it, and you started new things. Um, is there also this is spontaneity, is being spontaneous an important thing for you?
Mm, yes, like I said, I'm a very honest person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sometimes too cone-headed. So I when I see something that I have an opinion about, I
Mm-hmm.
tend to speak out,
Okay.
to say it as it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it it doesn't always ring very well around the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I started to learn contemporary music at Berkeley, because I learned the skills of opera, not the full scale, not even full to develop it yet, but I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
love the skills, however, not the community. Then I go to contemporary music school. I have found group of people that I enjoy, I last a long years of friendship. The first band Dent in Boston, we walked through and tour all DIY
Mm-hmm.
house shows from Boston to Texas in a very, very little car. It's not even a van. And we just did it. And I didn't even know how we did it. Um, and now, of course, that circle is spent to another circle, which is, also I met the members of Elizabeth Callowell also at Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also, doing Elizabeth Callowell at the time. And I thought the music was really nice. So when they asked me to join the band, I said yes. And it's all like that. But then I'm always moving on in a way that um, I mean, I would love to continue what I was doing, but then again, I had to be honest. And when honesty doesn't serve the benefit of the current situation, then one has to make a choice. And I do think that choice also reflects the characteristics in a musician's life,
Mm-hmm.
and in the music. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess also True Faith and Blind, it's a very political record.
Yeah.
And most people ask me, oh, it seems like you're singing some lyrics that we don't understand. It's that language, in back home. For me, no, there's no language in this record. There's only babbling of feelings, emotions, and
Mm-hmm.
stories can't describe in words. And this is also something that I think it's important because um, I don't have lyrics in this record, um, because there's a lot of when I was writing this album, my English was at its worst capability. um, and I wasn't talking a lot because I was not having um, I had a moment of speech kind of impeachment, that I cannot speak very well English and I have to restore my ability of speaking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, language. I think sometimes lyrics are so beautiful, but also sometimes it can be used against the very intention of the piece. You know, through our time of censorship, I come from a country that I know a lot about it. And people with silent note, a piece of paper that had nothing on it, but everybody knows what is it about.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the songs. And I think that's a power, and that is louder than having lyrics and pronouncing consonants. And I would like to bring that aspect to the stage of Roadburn for sure, and see what people feel about it. Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm already so excited for your performance at Roadburn. But nobody leaves a Veil of Sound interview without the infamous quickfire round. So you will always get two alternatives and you have to choose. It can be something like, AC/DC versus, I don't know, Journey, something like that, or whatever, And I want to start with a woman who also plays the piano a lot, and that's Tori Amos. I'll give you two of her records, and I hope you can choose between Little Earthquakes and From the Choir Girl Hotel.
From the Choir Girl Hotel.
Mm-hmm. Can you say why?
No, I cannot, because
Okay.
I haven't listened to this song yet.
Okay.
But
you have been living in many different countries, and you have been living in big cities, and you have been living in the rural area. Which gives you more emotional value? The concrete jungle of a big city or the calmness of the rural area?
So the rural area, it's a motion of, and then the concrete jungle, it's a motion of. So it's a hard decision for me to make. I would like to choose jungle. Yeah, concrete jungle.
You have been living in Berlin, and you have also recorded the last album in Berlin. So I would like to give you two artists that are very, very famous, or two projects that are very, very famous, and who both recorded an album in, or at least one album in Berlin. So I'll give you U2 versus David Bowie.
David Bowie. Absolutely. Yeah. If you ask me why.
You can tell me.
Because David Bowie also, I think when I hear his music, I don't hear just music. I hear his life choices. I hear his journey that his foot has stepped on. And I hear the choices he made, exactly what he was thinking when he decided to dump all the money during the tour. And that is, Berlin is a very isolated city. I mean, good thing that people like them, David Bowie, they also have friends, Iggy Pop, and they all create culture together in the city, and we can see times. And yeah, I guess that's what I want to say. I see more color with David Bowie's music.
Yeah, and one has to say, I mean, like, nothing against Achtung Baby by U2, but Bowie's Berlin trilogy is just better. Sorry, folks. It's no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, I respect U2.
Yeah, but musically, I would also venture to say Bowie. It's very interesting. You have been speaking about being compared to Björk. And for me, there is a very, very different artist that I would like to compare you with, and that is Jeff Buckley. And I'll give you...
Interesting choice. Interesting. Very interesting.
I think because of the way that you and he modulate your voices, there is For me, there is more similarity to Buckley than to Björk. So I'll give you two songs by Jeff Buckley. Dream Brother or Lover You Don't Have to Come Over.
Love You Don't Have to Come Over.
Mm-hmm. I have two more, and one is you've been speaking about lullabies, about songs and folklore and stuff that you've learned in China. Which kind of lullaby is more to your preference? A lullaby that tries to comfort or a lullaby that tries to teach? Or does that depend on the day?
Definitely depend on the day, but I do think in most lullabies, those two doesn't separate. So
That's
maybe
true.
maybe I would say comfort this time around, because comfort means there's love from whoever that's singing, and maybe that love is very important, at least to me.
Interesting that you choose exactly what I thought you would say, comfort. There have been two voices in the 90s and a little later that for me were very, very comforting. And it was Chris Cornell on the one hand and Mark Lanegan on the other. If you had to put on a record by one of them right now, would you put on a record by Cornell or by Lanegan?
Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the last one, which is only half serious. You have now been living in Berlin for a few months now already, a year, right? More than a year. And there are two kinds of food that I always associate with Berlin. Döner versus Currywurst.
Wait, can you repeat that again?
Döner, like the Turkish döner, or Currywurst, the sausage drenched in curry sausage sauce.
Oh.
And I know that both things are available in vegetarian and vegan alternatives as well.
Yeah. Okay. I have to choose it. The first one. Is it how to pronounce it?
Döner?
Döner. Yeah, döner. Yeah, because it's yummy, and also I guess it's really close to my home taste when there's no sauce on it. I mean, there's other sauce, just the pieces and veggies and wrapped in the bread. Very similar to homebrew bread and fillings in my hometown.
And again, it's probably a little bit more comforting than sausage. Lane, thanks for all your time. Thanks for the detailed answers. We're already all looking very much forward to your performance at Roadburn. Everybody, it's the first day, the very first real day, the day after the Spark. So you have no excuse to say like, oh, I'm too tired. No, you can't be. I'm very sure that next stage is going to be full as hell. And very much looking forward. So thanks for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Thurston. I also enjoyed it.
I will see you in Tilburg.
See ya.
Bye.